千里之行，始于足下。A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Derek Lin, where we take a deep dive into the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. I would like to extend a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. I would like to invite you to center your thoughts and direct your attention to this moment in time, to the here and now, to be fully present and mindfully aware as we all ready ourselves for this sacred process in the Tao with one another. Once upon a time, in ancient China, there was a young man who came to visit the sage. This young man felt frustrated. He felt like he needed some advice. So he explained his problem to the sage. He said, "Master, it is my one wish in life to excel in the art of painting. So that is why I've been searching everywhere for someone that I can learn from. It's been years since I've been on this search, and I have located many reputable artists, but so far, I have not found anybody who can really teach me." The sage smiled at this and asked the young man, "What happened when you visited with these reputable artists?" The young man sighed to express his exasperation. He said, "I discovered most of them did not really deserve their attention. I looked at their paintings and I realized some of them were not even at my level." "I see," the sage said. "Since your skills far surpass theirs, would you honor me with a painting to commemorate this day?" So the young man was glad to hear this. He said, "Of course, master. The honor is mine. What would you like me to paint?" So the sage brought out brush, ink, and parchment, and the sage said, "How about a teapot and a teacup?" "Oh, easy." The young man was brimming with confidence, and he picked up the brush. With deft strokes of that brush, the young artist finished the painting quickly. As the sage requested, it depicted a teapot and a teacup next to it. So when he was done, the young man asked, "Master, does this painting meet with your approval?" The sage said, "Well, it is excellent, except the position of the teapot and teacup are reversed. It should be teacup on top and the teapot at the bottom." The young man laughed at this. Surely the master was making a joke. He said, Master, you must be confused. How can the teapot pour tea into the teacup if the cup is positioned above the pot? The sage smiled again. I see you understand the principle. You wish to receive the fragrant tea from the renowned master painters, and yet you position your teacup above their teapot. How then can you expect the tea to flow from them to you? The young man was stunned. He contemplated the words that the sage had spoken, and understanding began to dawn on him. The end. Let us delve in to the Tao. What was the truth that dawned on the young man? It was that his ego had gotten to him. He had been engaging in self-praise without being fully aware of it. This is the subtle kind of self-praise I mentioned. He had such a high opinion of his own artistic skills, but instead of saying it outright, he chose to express it in terms of not being able to find a suitably high-level teacher. This meant he did not have the maturity to realize that what he was doing achieved the opposite effect. He wanted to emphasize the merit of his abilities, but he succeeded only in exposing his lack of spiritual refinement. This was important because in the highest levels of art, the artist's spiritual state is a crucial part of the art. So with what we're studying, 道德经 24, Lao Tzu begins by saying those who are on tiptoes cannot stand. This applies to the young man as well, because he was, in effect, standing on tiptoes to try to raise himself above the level of all the established masters that he had met. His error was not in seeking mastery, but in believing mastery was a matter of comparison. Standing on tiptoes, I am a little higher than you. That kind of comparison. So that was the reason that he placed himself in opposition to those he wanted to learn from. He was basically measuring his own worth against theirs. He was not approaching with humility. So we know that true wisdom and growth, they can never come from showcasing the supposed superiority that you possess. Boasting will bring harm rather than benefit. Those who declare themselves to be the best, they only isolate themselves. They cut off the very learning that they are seeking. So all of this is the meaning of the words from Lao Tzu. Those who praise themselves have no merit. Or for the sage to point out, the young man's cup was above the teapot pointing that out because he had inverted the relationship between student and teacher, not willing to lower his vessel, and as a result, receiving nothing. So that was the moment that he began to understand. He had to empty himself, position himself lower to be filled. The greatest artists of the world, they did not attain their skills through pride, but through quiet receptivity. To walk the path of mastery, one must be willing to listen, to absorb, and let go of personal pretense. So as the young man reflected on the sage's lesson, he saw with new eyes. The world, in fact, was full of teachers. Their wisdom had always been there, waiting for him. Their wisdom was not to be poured into a stubbornly closed cup, but to flow freely when you go to them with a sincere heart. So there was never any need for the young man to engage in any kind of self-praise, directly or indirectly. In this way, the young man was transformed by the sage's words. When he took up his brush again, it was no longer with arrogance, but with reverence. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.